Yeah, let's start it up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sex and the Cidiots. My name's Kevin McCaffrey, and I'm here with your big dad of two,
Johnny Balloon Dick Daly.
Johnny Balloon Dick Daly. Before we went on the air, we were talking 99 problems, and a friend of ours, Dick, is one. There's
Friend of the show. Yeah.
Friend of the pod. There's some dick issues. Dicks are complicated, and they're complicated from the get-go, it turns out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you know what? You know whose dick is nice? It's Kevin McCaffrey. I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks. I'm so glad you're here. Nice Dick Daly. Do you have a relative named Richard Daly? Is there a Dick Daly?
No. I went to high school with a guy named Dick. Dick Knapp.
Dick
Knapp? I probably shouldn't say his name. You know, it didn't occur to me before, but it sounds like his dick is asleep.
Yeah, a case of the sleepy dicks. Follow us on Instagram at Sex and the Cidiots and on Twitter at SexCidiotspod. And if you haven't yet, please do. I mean, we're getting to crunch time here. We're in the final half of the season, and we are then doing the movies, and then we're going to spin off somewhere. Get in, follow us on these socials so you don't lose the friendship that you have with me and John Daly. Because you can have some input into what we do next, because we don't fucking know, you know.
Oh man, it makes me feel like we should be signing each other's yearbooks or something. Like it's the last, the end of the school year, and we might move away, but we want to keep in touch. So
yeah. Exactly. I feel like I just heard me echo there a little bit.
Uh-oh.
It's fine. Let me just double check real quick. That's cool. I guess it is echoey, so if there is a chance to find headphones, I guess that would be... Hey, there we go. Cool.
All right. How about that?
Cool. Perfect. Sweet. So we're just talking yearbook signing. But yeah, if you do get a chance, please do give us a review. Rate us what you think is fair. I mean, 5 is probably fair. And 5 stars, and then leave us a review. The reviews have been great. That's one of the most fun things for us. Has been obviously the people who listen, DM us. It's been fun talking to y'all. And also it's fun to read these reviews. I think we have smart listeners, smart and witty listeners who write us reviews, John.
Wow. We will kiss your ass if you leave us a review.
Unless you accuse us of Satanism, and then we'll only spend 10 episodes kind of shitting on you. So, but we had one from Mimi Hates You, which is a really nice one. Kind of a misnomer. Possibly that's just her brand, but Mimi doesn't seem to hate us. She said, y'all ever come across an ad that was clearly micro-targeted by the almighty algorithm just for you? This is the podcast equivalent for me, someone who's usually always drunk and still referencing SATC in 2020. Pros: perfect lighthearted listen to distract from the current hellscape. Very wholesome best friendship between the boys. Isn't that nice? Wholesome. Much funnier than the show, but equally unsexy, which I don't fully know how to take. But I mean, we're not supposed to be sexy here.
We can't help ourselves most of the time, but no. I guess.
Yeah, we can't. And I guess I do have a question. Yeah, but she also said, cons, took me like 50 episodes to differentiate their voices, parentheses, I might have a disability, and then burger apologist, parentheses, unforgivable.
Shit. I think we liked Burger early on, but like Carrie did too, and then later on, we rightly derided him for his actions. So.
I think we said we're Burger Boys, not because we support what he did. It's because we see the flaws in him in us, or at least the seeds of those flaws.
Right.
We didn't do what Burger did.
Right. You know what? I think it's because we were raised Catholic, Kevin, that we see there. We believe that everyone's a sinner, basically, and that there's a little bit of burger in everyone. Everyone has the capability of being burger.
There's a little burger in you and me. Yeah. So that anyway, that was a very nice review from Mimi Hates You. And please do, if you have a moment, give us a rating and a fun review. Maybe we'll read it. We'll definitely love it, no matter what. So, yeah, I guess should we just get to the business of the show, John? Is there anything else before we?
I don't think so. I think we're up to date. I think we're ready to talk about this one.
All right, let me ask you this question real quick. Could I have a glass of alcohol when you get a chance? What are you drinking right now, John?
I'm drinking Pepsi Zero.
A Pepsi Zero. I considered going tote soaps on this one. I considered it. I didn't do it. I'm drinking a rosé.
Now, Kevin, you've told me several times you cannot get drunk on wine.
Sorry, I had a big mouthful of wine just now. I have told you that. I believe I've tweeted angrily about it when I drank, because I drank like a whole bottle of red and I did not feel anything. This is one night. I don't do this every night. Although maybe I should for my heart. I hear it's good, but
yeah, one bottle of wine a night. That's what they say.
I did mention to a doctor recently how much I drank because I took a week off drinking. You might remember. John's clapping. I don't know if you can hear it. But thank you, everyone. Thank you. I took a week off drinking, and I mentioned that how much I usually drink, and the doctor said, that's a surprise. And then he said, well, the amount is concerning. Which makes it seem like there was going to be more to say after that. There wasn't really. It was just like, the amount's concerning. Yeah. So I'm not trying to get drunk right now, John. That's why I'm on this wine. You know?
Wow. Well, very good. Very good. I'm trying not to get drunk either. That's why I'm not drinking alcohol. Sadly, I have to mind some children later, so I thought I would be sober for that.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, John, this episode was titled The Ick Factor, and can you tell us what that was about?
Well, this is a lot of the fans probably remember. Should I alter my voice, Kevin, do you think, so people can differentiate between us? What if I talk like this the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, that just sounds like you to me. I don't know. I truly don't think that we sound alike. She did allow that she might have a disability of sorts when it comes to differentiating voices. I mean, obviously, we both have deep, manly voices, of course, but I do think we sound different. A different review someone wrote, they watched one of our videos on YouTube, because occasionally we don't record all these on video, but some of them will go up on YouTube if you want to see John and I Zoom together. And someone said, I thought the one guy was the other guy. when she watched the video, she thought, I guess knew our faces, but thought the voices were flipped, which also seems nuts to me.
Yeah, I don't. That's weird. I mean, I hear your voice and I think of your face. I mean, duh.
I'm just crazy like that. Yeah.
That's an interesting test, though. I guess I'm curious to see what everyone thinks I look like. It's like those ads where it's like draw your own picture or whatever. But
yeah.
But different, but completely different. All right, the Ick Factor. This is the one, folks. It's the one where Carrie dates a sanitation worker, and then Miranda flies too close to the sun using wax wings. So.
The Icarus Factor. They shortened it. I gotcha. Hell yeah. Now that is, as you said, and as you often say, the fans probably remember. The fans surely remember that. They also might remember the HBO write-up, which was Carrie wonders how many more old-fashioned gestures from Aleksander she can stomach. Meanwhile, Charlotte and Harry get sick from their own romantic French dinner. Miranda exchanges some important I don'ts with Steve, and Samantha romancing the notion of larger breasts. Wow, that's a phrase. Is given something more serious to swallow.
Now that makes it sound like it's going to be about a blowjob or something, but it is not.
It is with a heavy heart we report it is not about BJs and swallows. We'd love it if it was, but yeah.
Oh man. Wow. So This is we get to see some classic Miranda and Steve bickering at the beginning.
We do.
They're outside having... Oh, wait, Kevin.
Yeah.
Shit. We almost went without knowing exactly how many people watched this episode.
Oh, that's a good... I didn't do that business. That's correct. We've only done friggin' 85 of these or whatever. It was... Well, first of all, you'll be thrilled to know that the number of people watch this episode were not available at my usual source. It said N/A. So I don't know how many people watch this episode besides the two of us and, our thousands of listeners. But what I do know is it was directed by Wendy Stanitzer, or Stanitzler. My handwriting is incredibly bad. I'm sorry. But cool thing, she was an editor on Sex and the City and then got promoted to be a director after editing on the show. And she won the American Cinema Editors Award for the series finale of the show as well.
Don't think that all this extraneous information is going to make up for the lack of viewership numbers.
It is Wendy Stanitz. Wendy Stantzler. Okay, Wendy Stantzler. That's how you pronounce it. The viewership numbers, you'll have to sign up for our Patreon to get those. Please follow us for Christ's sake. This aired January 11th, 2004, and it was written by two of our faves, Julie Rottenberg and Elisa Zaritsky. And our friend Wendy, who directed this, she also directed episodes of Grey's Anatomy, Desperate Housewives, Ugly Betty, Vamp D's, Vampire Diaries, Pretty Little Liars, and Parks and Rec. So quite a career for this.
Wow, a lot of shows that could be up for us watching, I guess, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Vampire Diaries, that's a contender, right?
Yeah, my wife is a big Vampire Diaries fan, and our friend Pat Driscoll, who hosted Degrassi podcast, go listen to that if you are a Degrassi
Stop what you're doing right now. Stop whatever you're listening to.
But yeah, they're big. My wife and he have talked Vamp Diaries a lot.
Is that a common name for the Vampire Diaries?
It's
program?
Extremely common.
Wow. I feel like I need to be with these people now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all the business I have. I apologize for the ratings.
I just hope that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah. I got a spoiler. It's going to happen again next week. Next week is also not applicable.
Do you think we could call HBO and find out, or Nielsen?
Yeah, I was going to say, should we prank call them? But it wouldn't really be a prank call. It'd be an actual call for information. Guys,
they definitely think it was a prank, and rightfully so.
Guys, I do a very popular podcast you've probably heard of called Sex and the Cidiots, and we need to know how many people watched this show in January of 2004.
Yes, season 6B, episode 2 and 3.
Yeah. So yeah, tell me how the episode opens.
All right. Well, anyway, Miranda and Steve getting drunk outdoors. Lovely. What a wild time to be alive.
It's really, I know. Could you imagine getting drunk? This is such a good time of year. It's nice that we've matched up with the year, where they are on the calendar now. We're entering the fall as we record this, and they're kind of, fall's coming. As one of the opening lines is Carrie in her voiceover says, in autumn, New Yorkers treat every nice day as if it could be their last, which now we do because of death and pandemic and stuff. But, she's talking about, nice days, weather changing.
And then they see an old couple walking by and they're bickering, having a wonderful discussion, I think, about because she's one of them was waiting at the subway and he was like, well, you were down the stairs, you were in the subway, not at the subway. And I think it was lovely, and the sort of conversation I have with my wife all the time.
Yeah, I thought of you guys when I was watching this. I thought you would, and I also had a positive reaction to that.
It's cool. I don't know. I think it's cool that these old people are keeping it feisty, man. They're going to go home and have fucking makeup sex like you wouldn't believe.
Tell me where I wasn't. Yeah.
But like Steve and Miranda are like, oh, I never want to be like that. And I was like, come on, guys. You'd be lucky to be like that. And
I agree.
And then they were like, well, we were like that and all that. And they're like, oh, I don't. And then they exchanged, this was the I don'ts of the synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I kind of forget what everything was, except I don't want to lose you again. And then that's what Steve says. And then Miranda says that too. And then they sit there and think about it. And they wonder for like 10 minutes about if there's some way that they could legally be joined together where they couldn't leave one another without some sort of strenuous process.
Yeah.
And they came up with adopting a dog.
Will you adopt a Yorkie poo with me? And Steve said, "Are you serious?" And then they did. And the dog's name is Batman. It's a great name for a dog. Miranda proposes to Steve, which is that's how this should be, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's the boss of this relationship. So good for her. Very progressive, wonderful, and Steve is over the moon, excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of Miranda's don'ts was like, I don't want to become like your mom. She says after ordering more like afternoon beers.
Yeah, so I mean $3 beers they call them later, and that isn't like Steve's mom. I think Steve's mom is just, I think, straight up suckling the hops out of the throwaway hops out of like a beer silo. Like I feel like the cheapest drunk you can be, it would be Steve's mom. $3 seems a bit high for her. I know she's a Budweiser lady, but you know.
She gets the cans from the liquor store.
Yeah. Samantha tries to get the cans later, but that's a teaser for later. Come back to present, live in the now.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, Miranda, they go to brunch after that soon, but what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, just my first question for you: do you have don'ts? Do you and Kristen have like, I don't want blank. I don't want to become this way or that way. You know, are there like specific things that you think of in your relationship, or just about you personally that like, I don't want to get like this?
I think there's just like aspects of our parents that were like, I don't want to be like this. But I think like everyone's got that. Right. But just I don't know. I can't think of anything in particular. Do you have something? You say what you're going to say, and then I'll think about mine.
Well, you saying the parents thing, it's like, yeah, whenever I'm hanging around my parents, they'll do something that it quickly illuminates to me that it's something that I do. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you know, and that's not as much relationship wise, but my mom, one of America's favorite people, you love her, we all love her. My mom is tremendous. She does do a thing where she's so supportive in conversation that she will steamroll whatever you're saying almost, that like you won't even be done saying it and she'll jump in with like her own sentence of support or sort of and I've started doing a thing when she does that. It's an interruption is what it is. I have just stopped talking. That's my move now. I'll stop. And then she realizes.
Does she notice? Is she like, why'd you stop, Kevin? Oh, did I do the thing again?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yes.
Does she listen? Is she listening?
No, I've told her this is the one she's not allowed to listen to. I do not need my mom listening to me occasionally talking pretty intimately about my own sex life. So
about clitorises, Kevin?
Yeah, I'd rather my mom not know that.
She doesn't need to know about that.
No, she does not need to know. I don't need to hear about it, or I don't need her to hear about it from me.
Does she listen to away games?
Yeah, she listens to Away Games, my baseball podcast, which is now part of the Brawl Network.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah, I mean, relationship-wise, I think I've very much wanted to be... I do a thing where every year on our wedding anniversary, I write my wife new vows. Every year on the anniversary. And so...
Who are you, Alec?
Don't do that to me. Don't Alec me, Daddy. Yeah, but like there's just I think I never want to be someone who you know, the thing where you move an inch further away every day without realizing it with someone, you know, and then you look up and you've floated too far from each other, you know. Like I never wanted to be that. I wanted to be someone who checks in when things get bad, you know, and remember that we're like, you know, best friends and stuff. So yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, so that's one.
That's one. Kristen does this thing where she'll try to finish what I'm saying.
This is basically what my mom does, but go ahead, yeah.
But she gets it wrong so often. So often. It's so funny. I mean, it got to the point where I also was like, no. Any other guesses? Anything else? But she does like recognize that she does it now. I mean, that's definitely not like a relationship thing.
Right. Also, I like that I'm like, is there anything that you don't want to turn into? And John's like, here's the thing Kristen does.
I'm perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, there's so many things I don't want to turn into.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn into, I don't know. I don't want to take anyone for granted, of course.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I mean, it's so basic. Ugh.
No, but that's good. That's good.
Right,
we did.
Fine.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. All right. So where to next? So they proposed.
They proposed. Big whoop. Well, that's going on. Carrie's having a happy hour of her own, which was the transition, and it's like not a happy hour. First of all, Carrie's not a happy hour.
It's straight up nighttime, my girl.
It's nighttime. You're not at a bar.
Mm-hmm. Things
aren't especially happy because this fucker is playing, and by this fucker I mean Mikhail Baryshnikov.
Mm-hmm.
That's playing.
Going forward, if we say this fucker, that's who we mean.
Alec is playing like some sort of nocturne on the piano, I think, some sort of funeral dirge, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I wrote that song for you, sweetie. Bye.
It's so bad. And I was watching this with my wife, and she said, as we transition from like the nice outdoor day buzzy sort of like real romanticism, I think, of Miranda and Steve, we transitioned to here, and my wife said, meanwhile, at the Phantom of the Opera's house. And it's like, yeah, that's basically what this appears to be. And I just wrote down, it's like they're in a relationship that like thinks it's cool, you know? It's like, do you actually enjoy this? Which they do get to later in the story, I guess.
Right.
That thought, but yeah.
It seems like this first bit is like, oh, this is like nice in small parts. Like this, a little bit of this goes a long way. He gives the song a name in French, which is basically translates to the woman with the eyes that sparkle. And yeah, it's cringe, I'd say, or ick if you wanted to be the title of this show. And also, I just want to throw this out there. Does Alec resemble Steve to you?
No, but I see what you're saying. I didn't think that before, but yeah.
Watch the episode again and then think about maybe Steve gets hit on the head and then he, like a Fred Flintstone thing, and he thinks he's a fancy Russian guy. He gets hit on the head again and he's back to Steve. That sort of thing.
I think they, in a sense, they sound the same to me because everything they say sounds like a dumb child is saying it. Just one is saying it with an accent, you know? With a more foreign accent, I guess. They both have accents, but yeah.
What if they're cousins? They could be cousins. That'd be a good twist.
What did we say? I said Magda was his mom. What was my conspiracy theory?
Oh, yeah.
Others, you know? So there's something there that's connected. Yeah.
Wow. The fucking net is closing around these people. I can feel it.
So go ahead.
Oh, good.
I was...
There's your fucking podcast merch. We're two people talking over each other, and then go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah. That takes us to brunch, I think. So then we can...
That's right. It's brunch time, baby. And Carrie's talking about how this sort of very romantic moment. And, of course, Charlotte's got her WAP going, overhearing about this. And kind of... Samantha's into it too a little bit. I think a little bit.
Yeah, I think
they're all sort of into it. They admit it's corny, except for Charlotte, who just says it's old-fashioned romance. What's wrong with old-fashioned romance? And Carrie's like, I write a cynical sex article every week about romance being dead, so I'm not really into it either necessarily. But she's kind of into it. It really is like, is this something you actually like, Carrie, or is this something that you're supposed to like?
Yes, exactly. And that's what I mean when I was saying that this is like a relationship that it like thinks it's cool. It's very self-conscious to me. It's very in a sense it feels very high school to me, where like when I was going on dates in high school, it was a lot of, I feel like I was doing a lot of stuff where I was like, this is what a date is, right? Like where I was just like playing at the idea of a relationship or what a man was supposed to do without
from what you've like cobbled together from TV shows and movies. Like,
exactly,
this is date now. We're doing date.
Yeah. So I think this is like a really pathetically old version of that, where it's just like, I'm being romantic. Yes. It's like, I mean, I guess I asked Jamie, I was like, if I read poetry to you, she was just like, ugh, you know, like, yeah, that's a deal breaker, ladies, you know, like, but I do think
dump your ass on the spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here, weirdo.
Get your own healthcare, dumbass.
She'd kick you and to a degree where you'd fly through the air and land on your butt, and then the book would come later and hit you on the head.
Yeah, I mean, it could still happen. It wouldn't shock me. But Carrie does seem to dig this to some degree.
And again, I think like if the first time it's fine. It does feel weird that it does, like they're on their third episode or whatever, and this is the first time he's busting out the piano or the poetry, or whatever. Like this hasn't happened before, but I don't know. Just spontaneously read poetry to Kristen, she'd probably think I had a stroke or something.
Yeah, and it would be a fair assumption. No one can like this. This can't be real. And
I will say, she for me saying all that, I think Kristen was getting like, but romance though is pretty good, right? Like she was getting into it.
Romance is good. I just don't think that's what this is. You know, like actually romantic things are good. Things that show actual thought, you know, are good. Just being like, I wrote the poem about you, la femme avec les yeux, blah, 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 you know, whatever it was. I mean, that's a song. He could have written that for all the other girls too. And this is just a thing he does.
Here we go.
There's nothing about her specifically, really. Oh, you're the woman with the eyes. Like that's his, you know.
You know what they could have done? Missed opportunity here. He should have just played the theme to the episode on the piano. Like that's where the theme song came from.
Oh, that would be good. He plays her the Sex and the City ditty. And what if he played our theme song?
I learned this from my couch.
I just played the first beat of our theme song. I forgot I have that on a button here. I can just play our theme song anytime. But yeah, my catch. Follow him at HadgeTunes. Yeah, so they're talking about real romance and shit, and she's braggy about it, and Miranda's disgusted by it, and that's fine, I think.
And then casually drops that, you know, she's not into that shit, so that's why her wedding is going to be very simple, or whatever.
Yeah, and she says she proposed to Steve, and I want to point out that there is a very popular GIF that comes from the scene. Carrie, with her eyes brightly open and her mouth open, it's a GIF. You look at any GIF search, you'll find this baby, and it comes from this brunch scene. And the thing is, Miranda, you're also weird.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know that this is not normal. Yeah, this very two ends of the spectrum sort of situation where most people, like 99% of the people, are in the middle. But I think I identify more with Miranda's stuff here, where it's like, just keep it simple. Whoever wants to propose can propose. That's the way I'm down with that. Yeah,
I thought it was just weird where she's like, nobody get excited about it. Like, yeah, let your friends get excited about it. You know, they can let your friends be excited about you. I think that's nice. That's fine. Yeah, but do what you want to do.
Yeah, do what you want to do. So everyone sort of gets mushy, including Samantha, about it, and she's like, I thought better of you. And then leaves, and later Charlotte is telling Harry about the romance.
So now oh, go ahead.
Oh. Now Harry's like, I could be romantic if I wanted to be, and I definitely thought we were going to get some like try hard romance from Harry, like, and then it just falls flat. But they just go to a French restaurant.
Which, I mean, cool. The main thing there is that you're having a night together. That's the real romantic thing. But yeah, you know, I get that he's like, let's do a fancy thing. And I've certainly done that too, where it's like, tonight's a fancy night. And I think that can be fun and cool. Still, the main romance of it is that you're just together. But yeah, so should we just do Charlotte's storyline then?
I mean, that's basic. I have 3 lines written down, and I got to order food in French. That's the second line. The third line is one word, Kevin. Diarrhea.
Diarrhea. And that does bring us to our clip of the week. Basically, they go to this French restaurant. Harry's having a lot of fun, and she says that she didn't know that Harry could speak French that well, and he said the French learned romance from me, baby. And I was like, that's a pretty good cornball line. That's fun. Basically they get le French shits, and this
La Merdes.
La Merdes. They get a case of the Merdes. So this is our clip of the week after the big fancy 7-course dinner. That fucking fromage was a fun thing to yell.
Yeah, it's I mean, this is like a sort of karma handed down from the gods sort of punishment, but like I don't understand what their hubris was exactly. Like,
sure.
they just went out to go get fancy dinner and they get punished. I guess, like, why?
Right. They didn't earn that punishment necessarily. I think it showed there, and they were like, oh, it didn't end up real romantic. And I was like, there is romance here, though, because they were together in their misery, and neither one of them, like, blamed the other, you know, which I think could definitely happen in a situation like this, where it's like, oh, you picked the restaurant, all this bullshit, you know. But they were cool about it. And I did have the thought, I'm like, is this the first time Charlotte has, like, taken a shit as a married woman? She, you know, the jig is up for Charlotte. She now has to use the bathroom.
They use the bathroom in front of each other, Kevin, which I know you're loath to do.
I've never done it, but when he said I'm coming in, I thought of you. You know,
thank you.
You'd be. I think you know, you're in a relationship that's an I'm coming in relationship. You know.
I don't even think we bother saying it. It just happens.
The doors stay open, baby.
I was like, man, I mean, there's still only one toilet in the room, right? So if he's coming in, what is he using, the sink?
Yeah, a real bridesmaid situation, I guess. Yeah.
Or the bathtub. Where do you shit, Kevin? Toilet's occupied. You go in sink or tub?
I gotta say, John, to be quite honest, I've never shit in either.
Sure. But let's say you had a friend, quote unquote, Kevin.
If it's your house, I'm shitting in your tub.
Well, of course, I think you have to shit in the tub. I mean, just the cleanup's going to be way easier, I think.
I mean, I think in that situation, you just run into the woods. You go out, you just run outside. You just run outside.
Where are the woods, Kevin? There are no woods.
There's woods.
You run far enough, you'll find woods.
Woods in any direction. You know, not that far, really.
All right.
Yeah, this just reminds me of a podcast I listen to on and off, but relatively regularly, Dan Savage's podcast, and he recommends on big romantic occasions, you fuck first, so you don't run into this sort of issue where you eat all the food and then you have to go home and feel pressure about being romantic. Just knock one out and then you go have dinner. That's what he says.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a thought.
I bet, like, I mean, he's a sex columnist sort of thing. Yeah. So, like, of course, he's going to say sex first. I feel like the chefs of the world would be like, well, eat first. You don't want to ruin the food experience with all, you know. with all the nasty sex you had beforehand.
See, but I don't think it affects it, right? It's like,
well, I don't know. Well, you might get so exerted from the sex that you're like, I don't need the food anymore.
Too tired to eat. Yeah.
Too tired.
That's a good. I mean, what a diet that is. I'm on an all fuck diet. I just have sex too much, and then I don't even feel like eating. Yeah, but that's basically Charlotte. And, she's really into the idea of romance, and she was like, we're starved for real romance, and all that stuff. So,
and they had, they had real romance. With shitting on each other. Very romantic. Carrie gets boring poetry read to her, and then she reads her poetry from Vogue. Kevin.
Yeah.
Have you ever read from Sports Illustrated to Jamie and said it was poetry?
I've not said that it's poetry, but I cannot with confidence say that I've never read anything out of like a Sports Illustrated to Jamie to be like, listen to this. Like there's a chance I have, I think. That I could see that happening. I don't remember it specifically, but that's possible. But it's something I genuinely care about. I mean, I guess this guy genuinely cares about this fucking poetry, but it's hard for me to believe. I feel like he's just living his gimmick. He's just being a brand here.
As soon as he started reading the poem, like I tuned out. I just it was white noise to me. There was a snowflake involved, I think.
I don't know what the poem was about. I could not tell you a word that was in it because it's just like, oh my God. And he does not have a good poem voice either. It's just like, oh God, boring as fuck. Is boring romantic? It seems like she thinks it is.
God, maybe if I kiss him, he'll shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
My poetry that I read, Kristen, is Wikipedia entries to movies or TV shows that we don't actually want to take the time to watch. So I'll just read the Wikipedia entry out loud.
But you want to know what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't want to spend the time, but works pretty well.
Yeah, I'm like that with horror movies. I'm always like curious about the premise, kind of, but I don't like horror movies, so I don't watch the thing. But I'll read the wiki, and then you go to sleep and have horrible dreams. So that's the thing I do. I got a Fitbit, so it like measures your sleep and stuff, and it will not surprise you to know that I'm getting pretty aggressively low sleep scores thus far. I don't do it well, but yeah.
Fuck that Fitbit, dude.
Yeah. Go
get a sleep study done, Kevin.
I probably should. I did when I was a kid, but yeah, I should do it again as a 38-year-old now. Tell me how I'm broken in new ways. I did like when Carrie said, perhaps we were not properly introduced when they were talking about the poetry, because it is like, that was a good reality check where it's like, this isn't a me thing. And then when he was like, you mean no other man has read you poetry? No, man. Like, you're a fucking loser.
I've only dated normal people.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't guess it from like the litany of people that she's actually dated, but no poetry. And what was the other thing? Oh, now he wrote the song for her. That was a Mikhail Gorbachev original.
It was a Mikhail Gorbachev original, yeah. And those are hard. If you find a record store where they have an original on vinyl, that's good. You're going to want to snap that right up. So, yeah. And writing a song for someone, that can be real romance, I would say. Can be. I don't think in this case it is, but.
And like you say, he definitely wrote that for someone else, or it's probably like a Plain White Tees song that he says he wrote.
Yeah. If you like Aleksander, can you DM us about it? I do, because it feels like there's no way to like him. And I want to know, we're many years after this happened, are John and are the Burger Boys way off on this one, or what?
I will say also, all right, so this leads to the next thing where, like, they're going to go out on date night, or, like, Carrie thinks it's a sleepover or something. So she's dressed in what has been described as the worst outfit she's ever worn.
Is that what Kristen said, or you said?
Yeah,
Kristen
she said it. It is out of control. It's like some sort of, like, Sherpa jacket, sleeveless, though, with gloves. It's It's out of control. There needs to be an intervention. But anyway, there is an intervention a little bit because Russian Steve answers the door.
Russian Steve! Hell yes.
Russian Steve answers the door wearing a tux, and he's like, guess what? We're going to the opera, which is like, could you imagine if that's what your life's like now? It's like, man, do I have to pretend to like fucking culture now? Because I can't put up the charade for forever.
No, and she's got her own culture. There's her own culture that she's into, and it's not this. And then she shows up to this, and John, I just think of one word. Opulence. This is a lot of opulence, and it is like, it is a lot. The way they present it here, it's another wealth porn alert. We've got wealth porn alarm where it's just like, yeah, it's easy. It's a lot easier to do romantic gestures when you're just endlessly wealthy. But it is a peeve of mine in pop culture where it's just like, did you see how romantic he was? It's almost like how on The Bachelor or something when they have like a personal concert from the band Train, and she's like, I can't believe he did this for me. It's like, he didn't. A network did it. It's like, this is a network basically.
Yeah, I guess it's easy to wow someone when your good friend Oscar De La Renta will just give you a dress that you pointed out in Vogue. It's like, okay, yeah, it's easy to like this guy, I guess.
Yeah, I will say it is good to, she said she liked something, and then most of us would notice that from a significant other and then get her something like it or related to it. It wouldn't call up your friend Oscar and be like, give it to me, please, but...
I'm really trying to seal the deal on this one, Oscar.
Yes. So it seemed like wealth porn alert, also a little bit of control here where it's like he didn't give her the option to prepare for this date. He was like, you will wear this, which to me it could be a bit of a red flag.
Right. And also, you will wear this and we are going to this thing I want to go to.
Yes.
So...
Totally.
You have no agency here, Carrie. I mean, it's working now because these are things that you will go along with for now, but what happens when it's not?
Totally. Yeah. And
I guess what happens when it's not is that you pass out in Lincoln Center.
I wrote down what was with fainting. For a second, I was like, is this a bit? Was she doing a bit that this was too much? She called it the most romantic moment. And again, I think, girl, you're playing yourself. It is not the most romantic moment, and you don't even think so.
I do like that it's like, it's like a spontaneous dance in a public place. Like, at least that's something that isn't like my vast wealth and network of fabulous friends was able to provide this for me. This was like, yeah, let's just like dance in public. All right. And that's cool. But yeah, it's not like, oh man, this is too much.
Yeah.
But I guess it was for Carrie. It was information overload or class overload or whatever. So she faints. He does grab her, which is nice, but I guess he's Mikhail Gorbachev, so he's got the moves.
Right. Would have been if he just let her friggin' fall to the ground and her head crack like a coconut. Like, would have been
just
real
get his
quick.
phone out and just be like, Cheryl, you're up.
You got next. Yeah. Do we know why she fainted?
I think it was too much for her. That's the stated reason was it was too much for her. I would get an MRI if I was scary after this.
Have you fainted in your life?
I've certainly passed out, and I may have passed out from a standing position before.
Kevin, it was not a faint. I passed out from a standing position. I was standing on my car while driving it, but yeah.
Alcohol may have been involved, but I don't think I've just fainted from whatever this was, certainly, no. And or from like heat or anything like that. Maybe it was hot out. Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was one of the last nice days.
That's true.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's too nice. And then so what do they do? It's too nice. They decide to say fuck it to the opera because that's too much for her. Maybe this was just her trying to get out of going to see the opera, honestly.
If so, fuck, I respect it.
So they go to McDonald's to it's low class, and we get to hear Russian Steve order Big Mac, give me the quarter pounder.
a Royale with cheese almost, right? We all it's not, I know it's not French, but yeah, he gets the quarter pounder. And he is being, I would say he's being cool here.
Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, he's playing ball and doing the thing that she wants to do. Yeah, I wonder if he's just like, yeah, I guess we'll do the things I want to do because you haven't really spoken up about anything you want to do. Like, if you wanted to go to McDonald's, lady, I would have gone to McDonald's this whole time.
You know, that, and that's a fair point too, because there are, I hate a person, this is significant other or otherwise, friend too. I hate a person who's got complaints about where you go with no ideas of their own. That is a type of person that I fucking hate. And I don't think, I don't think that's what Carrie's being. I think she's just been like, everything that happens, she's like, oh dear, and then goes along with it. I don't feel like she's having her hand forced yet, at least. But even though it feels like that's coming. But yeah.
But yeah. She's been wowed because everything he offers is traditionally better, or subjectively better. Many would say objectively better, but no, you have your favorites no matter what. And I guess McDonald's too, I imagine didn't pay a red cent for this. They probably just came up with McDonald's organically, because it was just the right place to go to.
And this is not the first McDonald's sighting on the show. How could it be? It's an American classic show.
She showed up to Big's house with the fucking McDonald's.
And then ended up throwing it around, right? And she was like being French or something, right? She was, yeah.
Wow. So did Big turn down that McDonald's? So is Russian Steve better than Big because he's ready to slum it at McDonald's?
You know what? In the power rankings, which maybe that'll be a special ep we'll do, but I would have Big ahead of. I have Russian Steve basically last.
That's true.
I'll say now.
I wonder, like, do we count? We don't count the one-offs though. We don't count like the weed guy who lives with his parents.
We could.
I mean, that guy's not bad. He's just the first guy I thought of.
Yeah, he's like a loser. I mean, Brian Callen was pretty bad, and also is not having a great year as a person either. Comedian Brian Callen, who, yeah.
Oh, was that the guy? That was a guy.
He was the guy. He was Harry's best man.
Oh, that fucking guy. That guy shouldn't even count. That was not a relationship to me.
But he was bad.
Yeah, that guy was like rock bottom.
And turns out in real life too. So that's good.
Typecasting.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got suited up. When we went to the Emmys. The one time I went to the Emmys, we went to McDonald's. So we know a little bit about wearing tuxedos at McDonald's.
You, me, and our wives went to the Emmys in tuxes and ball gowns, and went to the McDonald's.
You'd be surprised who wore the tuxes and who wore the ball gowns.
We really Sadie Hawkins that shit. Yeah. All right. So that's basically Carrie.
Yeah, that's fine. And then I guess. What's that I hear? Wedding bells?
We've got wedding bells. We go, this is the second time I feel like this season where we've gone like almost proposal to wedding in an episode, or in like barely more than an episode, maybe in Charlotte and Harry's case. The proposal was at the end of one episode and they were married by the end of the next, I think. And
this one feels like it's better that it's this way, because this doesn't, I mean, it's 8 people are at this wedding or whatever. It's not a bells and whistles. What'd she call like a ballroom or she used some phrase about big weddings, which should be offensive to Charlotte because she had several big weddings.
Yeah. Oh, but in the race for weddings, we finally have one of the other gals on the board. Charlotte was leading 2-0 to 0, and now it's 2-1 to 0-0.
Watch the throne, Charlotte. Watch the throne.
Yeah.
So
and Miranda and Steve it is in play that they could get divorced twice and remarry twice. So they
would be that couple, absolutely, to
totally.
Divorce and remarry, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, she's so Miranda's. They're talking about it. The people, when she says like I'm getting married, people are already like, "Do you have a date set?" It's like, shit, dude. No, you don't have a date set. They just got engaged. It's not like they just like, all right, we're engaged. Let's start planning the wedding right now. Like you have some time.
Yeah, I know. I think we both feel this way. We're both guys who, the one who got to proposing more quickly took about 7 years, I think. So yeah, we're men who take our time, baby. But yeah, I like the period of time when you're engaged is its own fun period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I think it's nice to sort of luxuriate in that for a bit and not feel like you have to rush to the next step and rush to the next step, But we've both experienced this. A lot of people, their first question when they hear you're engaged is, have you set a date? And it's like, slow your roll. I just did a big thing. We'll let you know if you need to know,
Yeah. I guess if you don't tell someone you got engaged until like a couple weeks later, it makes sense. But it seems like she went and had beers and then came to brunch or something. But
yeah.
Anyway, so what is she doing? She's out buying wedding dresses, not white, because guess what, folks? She's done the nasty and had a baby because of it. I know what that feels. I know that feel.
She's done the nasty, baby. Yeah.
And they're bringing out dresses, and it's funny. It's funny because the dresses look bad.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. Oh, they're also like they had a funny scene where they're trying to pick the location, and they're fucking goofballs. Their bags break or whatever, and he steps in gum. And Steve is a fucking child, man. He's like, if I ever leave this place.
Yeah, this gum is like super glue. That was the runner-up for clip of the week, and maybe it should have been the clip of the week, because Steve is delighted to find himself tapered to the sidewalk with this gum. He yells this gum is like super glue, which even as a comparison, this gum is like gum. It's like, it's not, you don't need to compare it to another sticky agent. It is doing the thing it sounds like.
Oh my God.
Sticky agent. Well, do you remember that? Was he a villain in Austin Powers? Was it the sticky agent?
He was an X-Man, I believe.
Yeah.
So they find the place where they get stuck to the ground is where they're going to be stuck together. It's a community garden. Lovely. Did you ever for a second think about getting married in Manhattan proper, Kevin?
No, I'm not a billionaire. I never considered that.
Okay. All right.
Did you?
It just seemed no, absolutely not. Never.
You got married in upstate and I did in Indianapolis.
Right. Yeah. It just seems like even a community garden is like I assume very expensive for some reason. But that's where they decide to do it, and they have a small ceremony with a woman pastor or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there was like a casting problem. They couldn't find a man to do it or something.
It's like that riddle where it turns out the doctor's a woman and everyone's shocked. Is that the bit you're doing?
Are they religious? Have they done anything where they're? I guess they got baptized. That was a big religious thing, right?
Yeah. So there was a Catholic element there, right? Because Steve's got to be Catholic, and then Miranda's not.
Mm-hmm. Do we know what Miranda is? Is she Jewish? Do you know?
No,
it hasn't ever come up.
No, I think she's just like my guess would be like non-practicing Presbyterian or something. Like I feel like something in the Christian, in the Christian brand, but not Catholic. And then also she doesn't go to church or anything. So it seems like this was.
They made such a big deal about the kid getting baptized, but I guess like Steve doesn't matter at all about his marriage not being blessed by the church. So
yes, and it's funny, and this is reminding me of the review. And if you haven't reviewed us, please do rate and review us. But where it referred to the wholesome best friendship between the boys, it is almost a disgusting detail that we were married by the same person. That you and I had the same.
Yeah, we that big mass marriage that happened down in the Tempe, Arizona. It was 10,000 people got married at once, and then the orgy afterwards. But we stayed far apart at the orgy.
No, we don't orgy. No, but we just get married at the same time. It was different times, but it was by the same officiant. Our friend Rob Abner, shout out. But yeah,
if you're gonna get married by Rob Abner.
With a special extra shout out to Brock Mahan on mine. There was a combo deal on at my wedding. There was some red tape we had to get around, but yeah.
God, you got married so hard, 2 people married you.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of energy bringing to the table. So that
the wedding is like super uneventful, I'd say.
Yep.
really nothing going on.
No, but it's nice and sincere, and they do their vows.
It is. And Miranda is looking right, I'd say. The dress, the hair, she's doing well. Nice. Okay, so that is nice, and we're about to get to the reception, but we have one other person, Kevin, that we haven't talked about.
Captain Steer Me Daddy, you are steering the plot perfectly.
Thank you. Well, we're talking about, that's right, Stanford Blatchford is back.
God damn it. What?
No, he's not. Sam is, we haven't talked about Sam, and Sam has, because she's dating a big-time star now, more or less.
The number one hot guy to watch, which is not a list, by the way, and barely makes sense as a sentence.
Well, barely makes sense is the sort of thing I'd expect to find in In Touch magazine. So
true.
I'd buy it. Anyway, she's been in Touch magazine a bunch, and she's noticed perhaps a feature about herself that she's not pleased with. Talking about her boobies. And
we're always talking about her boobies. She wants bigger boobs. And John, when you hear that, what do you think?
I think I think what she's got is fine. She's doing just fine with what she's got.
Right. Yeah. I think since I think we're a similar way type of guy this way, but it's kind of like whatever you want to do, cool. If you really want to do it, mm-hmm. Like if she really wants the new boobs, great, good for you. I think the boobs were doing great anyway, but if she's into it, but it's a bummer thinking that maybe she wants the boobs specifically because she's like in magazines next to a guy who's thought of to be really hot, and it's like, Sam, you're undeniably hot. The boobs, these
maybe weren't like the most flattering pictures of you, but this is like what paparazzi snapped. This wasn't. You're not gonna, even with bigger boobs, if you're hunched over like in one of these photos, like it's not gonna look great no matter what.
Right.
But yeah, if it makes you feel better, do it. But it seems like what you have has been working for you for a long time. So mm-hmm. Why mess with perfection? I did think it was funny when she's like sort of trying to window shop, as it were, about looking at other people's boobs, and she's looking at Carrie and like, oh, these are great boobs, Carrie, I want your boobs. And Charlotte's there and she's offended, and then she's like, all right, well, let me try them out, and she reaches over and grabs for Charlotte's boobs. That was like a fun, friendly time. I
thought so too. It was a fun, good, genuine, funny friend moment, and Charlotte had a great reaction there. She was kind of like giggly pulling away, and mm-hmm. I thought everyone played that right. And John, it made me a little wistful because as guys, we don't have that. We can't be like, whose dong do you want? And then you just nut tap everyone in the room and then be like,
I feel like we've done plenty of grab ass though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've grabbed ass. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Shane's been on top of me, humping me, dry humping me, so that's something.
That it certainly is something. He dry humped you the first day you moved to town, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That was
he marked me.
Yeah. Yeah, and we still we feel it here today still.
Yeah. No one else has dry humped me in New York, as far as I know. They've been afraid. Shane's musk is still following me.
Yep. But there was. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So she wants bigger boobs. She goes out to like a club with some douchebags or whatever, where douchebags are at, and like the three of them are all just scoping out boobs and
what a casting call this must have been. Your face won't be included.
Well, some of she did want boobs of like different sizes. There was like small, medium, and large, and then extra large or whatever. And she ends up, the lady bartender has wonderful boobs, as it turns out. And she's got the name of the doc that did them. She goes to the doc, and she's opining to the doc, and the doc says, whoopsie, you got a lump.
I wrote down just like the swerve on this storyline, where it began as literally, I'd like boobs. And then we get this, and it's like, holy shit. You can't go from a more silly, superfluous place to something more genuinely serious, like just a record scratch thing. But I thought it was like, well done, because this is probably, this is how people find out about health problems too. It's like they can just come out of nowhere, and she discovered it, and it seems like it's good that she discovered it, and she wouldn't have come across it otherwise at this time.
Yeah. It's yeah, they did a good job of like kind of disguising where they were going. I thought. I didn't.
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
But yeah, so it's like good. Get yourself checked out. Every woman should go get a breast augmentation sort of estimate so they can see what they got going on. But yeah, she finds out about it, and then on the wedding day, she goes and picks up Sam in a cab, which was uncharacteristic.
Sam picks up Carrie.
Yes, that's what I said. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sober.
Dude, Sam was one of the two people in the cab. That's accurate. That's fine. She picks up Carrie, and then she sort of really businesslike lays out the info for her.
Mm-hmm. And she's wearing like a power outfit too. She's wearing like a blue jumpsuit with like this black and white. She does call it a skunk later, but like this like sash scarf thing across her chest. It's very powerful. But yeah, she sort of like just lays it right out for Carrie right there, and then Carrie's gets the wind knocked out of her from it, and she's like, well, I told you everything, now we don't have to dwell on it or whatever, which is like great. This is great. Sam's really handling it like a champ.
She is. And it's, I think when a friend of yours tells you information like this, I think Carrie handles it really well, because it's a huge compliment to be trusted with that, I think, from any friend telling you something like personal news of that level, to be like one of the first people they tell. That's like a huge compliment to be trusted that way, and I think Carrie handles it really well.
Yeah, but it's also like, yeah, sorry that you have to deal with this gray cloud. Also, don't tell Charlotte, and definitely don't tell Miranda. I don't want to ruin Miranda's day. But yeah. So and
then they go to the wedding. There's also, I liked at the wedding, Carrie like held Sam's hand at one point, which I thought was a nice friend moment, nice visual. But then they're at the reception, and yeah,
Charlotte comes and sits down with Sam and Carrie, and the first thing that Sam says is, "I have cancer," which is great.
Yeah, and I get it, because I get how hard it is to not say this, because you're going to be in your head and not really be in the moment, ignoring something this big. But it also is like, oh, okay, so that thing about not telling anybody, that's not happening anymore. Okay, fine.
She was probably on the fence about telling Charlotte anyway. Why not tell Charlotte? Fuck
sure.
It.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Miranda is interacting with Steve's mom, and Steve's mom comes over. Is this Steve's mom?
Yeah.
She says like, you're family now. All right. She's family now, so I get to tell you, I'm glad you didn't wear white, because we know I wore white on my wedding day, even though I shouldn't have, because I slipped up just once, and so I had white on the outside and little Jackie on the inside, which is like, so she was pregnant with another guy's child. Was that the right?
I don't know. Is it little Jackie because her husband was Jack, or does Steve have a sister Jackie that we either don't know or you and I have forgotten about?
I think we may have forgotten about it.
Okay.
Because like when she said little Jackie, I was like, is that like some sort of undergarment or something?
Yeah. Is that like a chastity belt situation? Yeah.
But I think it's like, shit lady, you slipped up and you got pregnant with someone else's kid. Woo! And like, wow. And then so I think Miranda, that's why Miranda's very shocked to hear that. And then she like immediately retreats to her friends. She's like, all right, these people are whatever. I need to go talk to my friends. And her friends are being weird because they're all like, don't talk about the C word, that old C word that just showed up.
Yeah.
Cancer. And so Miranda's like, oh my gosh, you guys are acting weird. I demand you not be weird. It's my wedding day. Whatever.
Yeah. And then, she's like, no, you have to tell me. And then they tell her, and she's feeling it. And then Samantha's like, please do not, let's not. Or I think she says like, now it's my special fucking day or something. But then they tell her, to go back to her people. And she said, and Miranda says, you are my people and we'll talk about it now. And that line caught me off guard and made me emotional. I will say, it genuinely caught me, and I need to take a breath for a second. So Miranda and the writers, Julie and Elisa, both that really caught me off guard with that, like, very forceful statement of Miranda's to be like, you are my people. There's no other people here. It's you to the fucking end. And I appreciated how she was.
Which may be sooner for some of you.
Sure. Yes. But I thought that was fucking great. It caught me. I got emotional.
Yeah, it was. I mean, sure, we were all getting misty-eyed, Kevin, I guess. And, like, the thought of, like, losing Sam, like, I just think it's very brave of them to have Sam. She's just going to have full-blown stage 4 cancer. She's going to be admitted to a hospital until the end of the show. That'd be what my guess is for the rest of her time on the show.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know where this goes.
What if she had a funeral, Kevin? What if they had a funeral?
If they kill one off before the end? Dude, some shows do that shit. Like, I know Dawson's Creek killed somebody. I know there's...
Spoiler.
Yeah, but fucking How I Met Your Mother, y'all might have heard. But yeah, there's like... some shows will kill people off at the end. You know, like the...
I hope she dies. I don't really hope she dies.
Right.
But if she died and then they brought her back for the movie somehow, like it was her twin sister or something.
That's true. I think I'm fairly certain she's in the movie. So I feel like her health prognosis, it's Sam's twin sister who is from India and just talks like she talked at the Soho House. That would be great. John, I think that's it for the plot, right?
I think so.
Yeah. What gives you the icks? The ick factor. They were talking about what gives them the icks.
Oh man.
The poetry reading. The fucking, you know.
The icks. Like it's something that's like supposed to be romantic, but is actually like cheesy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of just like a turn-offs question. There might not be anything there, but they were, yeah.
Oh man, God, she's sitting right here. She's in the room. No, I don't know.
Yeah, there might not be nothing. I can just cut that.
What about you? You tell me. You tell me first.
I don't know what. Yeah, I think one thing. I don't know if this exactly qualifies, but I was talking to someone recently who, like, their significant other's family is just like, I feel like being all about family is their brand, and like they just have to be around the family all the time, and they treat it like that's like that in and of itself is a good thing. To say nothing of like how the family cares for each other or treats each other, but just like it's mandatory that the family be around each other all the time as much as possible.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I hate that. I like that gives me the icks, I would say. Like, like the fact that you're in a relationship and it's like, well, we just have to be with my whole extended family basically all the time because that's important. Is it? Why? If you love each other, want to be, okay. But the scenario I'm talking about was like not that. And I'm not in a situation where like I'm forced into a lot of family things I don't want to do. But, you know, I would say that gives me the icks.
Yeah. I mean, that all sounds good.
Cool. Perfect. Anything else before we go, John?
Oh, man. I sat in gum, Kevin.
It's like super glue.
Super glue.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Follow us at Sex and the Cidiots on Instagram, at SexIdiotspod on Twitter. Please do give us a rating and a review if you haven't yet. We've loved all the ones we've seen, and feel free to DM us on Instagram. And let us know what show you want us to talk about next or anything else you would want from us. We actually might start a Patreon soon, so we might have some extra weird things we do and put up on there. So if you guys, if there's any Kevin John content you want that you're thirsty for, let us know what you want. We're open to stuff.
For the $10,000 Patreon level, I will get a boob job.
I'll get the same one. So you'll have trouble telling our voices and our tits apart. Thanks for listening, everybody.